Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Sport holds a special place in Australian culture, and for many Australians it's a central part of our way of life. Australians quite rightly expect sport to be fair, clean and safe. No nation and no sport is immune from integrity threats that can put at risk these expectations. Labor is committed to supporting appropriate responses to real threats facing Australia's sporting integrity. When the integrity of Australian sport is weakened, it can have a cascading impact on the benefits of sport to Australia at all levels, from contribution of professional sport to our economy to the participation of Australians in grassroots community sport. Threats to Australian sports integrity evolve over time, and so too must Australia's response to them. And I don't need to go through the sordid history of various sports scandals, but it is true, Mr Deputy Speaker, when we see a scandal in sport, it diminishes the reputation of both that sport and participation in that sport, whether it was the Armstrong doping scandals in cycling, the various scandals involving the Manly Seagulls and a couple of AFL teams around the use of a calf's blood a decade ago, to the various incidents around betting. Integrity must be upheld in every sport, and in fact the prevalence of online betting agencies, the ability to bet on sporting events in minute detail, the ability to move markets quite easily, means that urgent action is required to make sure that the integrity of Australian sports is maintained. And that's why the review of Australia's sports integrity arrangements completed last year, known as the Wood Review, was so important. It was broad and complex. It returned 52 recommendations that sit across several portfolios and agencies. The government's response to the reviews, including the planned establishment of a National Sports Tribunal, builds on Labor's establishment of the National Integrity of Sports Unit in 2012 and strengthening of the Australian Sports Anti-Doping Authority powers in 2013. Labor will continue to work with the sports sector and agencies to provide strong, appropriate protections to the integrity and reputation of a sport in Australia. We will continue to work with the government, but also to closely monitor, in response to the Wood Review, recommendations to ensure it's implemented fairly and with consideration for the rights and well-being of athletes. Labor supports this bill. The companion bills, which we are debating cognately, deals with the consequential and transitional matters arising from the enactment of the National Sports Tribunal Act 2019. In my earlier remarks on the National Sport Tribunal Bill, I outlined Labor's support for appropriate responses to threats to Australia's sports integrity. This bill enables the establishment of the tribunal through consequential amendments and transitional arrangements, and as such Labor supports this bill. Given the nature of these bills, Mr Deputy Speaker, it's essential that there is a bipartisan approach. The integrity of sport must be upheld in this country. As I said before, when a scandal rocks Australian sport, it undermines both the professional level of that sport but also grassroots participation in that sport, and that's something that we must avoid at all costs. On that basis, I commend these bills to the House.